And then, and we are going to be doing our electronic door locks, this next summer. And most of that will probably hit this fiscal year. So total expenditures are going up 6.7%. Our operating expenditures are up 5.8%. As you can see, in our operating expenditures, about 75% are salaries and benefits. They're at 17% of the purchase services are primarily transportation and night custodial, which are very personnel heavy. So most of our spending, not over 90%, is on people. And we did experience a lot of salary and benefit increases this year. So we do have a pretty tight budget. This is what our debt service schedule looks like. Does not include the debt refunding, but we are just going to be saving a little bit, probably $10,000 or $15,000 of interest every year. So those will probably get a little bit smaller, but shouldn't look very different. And we will be paying off our elementary school debt at in 2029. And then looking at our fund balance, the board fund balance policy is to keep our operating fund balance within a range of 30 to 50% of operating expenditures. And we are projected to finish the year next year at 36%, which was an on target. And that was the budget.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Jay, I was looking at the comparison to this year's actual compared to the New Year's budget.
Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to say we're operating as a shortfall in actual for like 1.8 million last year and that number is down to 409 this year? Or am I not understanding?
Yeah, I would say so. Last year, we spent a lot on capital projects, so we transferred fund balance to a non-operating fund and used that to do some big projects. So net total expenditures were 2.4%, but then we had an operating surplus, so that reduced it to the 1.8%. And then this year, we're expecting to spend, we have a balanced operating budget and then 400,000 or so in capital projects. So that difference is accurate, but most of it is planned capital spending that are not in non-operating funds.
But if you look at those two numbers, that's a good improvement.
Yeah.
And that's
A lot better. That's a lot better. We can't spend money like that every year.
That's a lot better this
We
year.
had a lot of deferred capital projects due to, the pandemic. We weren't doing anything because of the uncertainty and just the climate. And for example, the furniture, we had this big furniture plan for flexible furniture to get kids close to each other. And then we had the pandemic and we were all back sitting 6 feet apart facing forward. So we kind of put the reins on that. And now that we're back to teaching practices that are more flexible and in those settings, we went ahead and purchased that furniture. So we kind of did a lot of capital expenditures from prior years all at once. We built up that fund balance in prior years, and then we spent it down last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything
Question?
else? And just a reminder to everyone that we have seen this presentation before, so we did have a chance to ask questions previously as well.
And then you'll be voting on this budget during the open meeting.
Yes, this evening. All right, so is there any public comment now? Doesn't look like it. All right, so we will adjourn this budget hearing meeting now, and if you'll be attending the board meeting and have questions. Yeah. Okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn the budget meeting, please? So moved. Second? I'll second that. All right, Lauren, can we have a roll call?
Richard Driver,
Yay.
Tim Penich,
Yeah.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes.
Do you know who's reading that resolution? I was just gonna ask if you want to. Carrie. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lakeville School District 65 Board of Education meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order at 7:05 PM. Lauren, can we have a roll call, please? All right, at the beginning of each meeting, we do read the mission, vision, and motto of District 65. Amy, would you like to read it to me?
Sure.
How about that?
Our mission is to ensure academic achievement, and personal growth for all students through innovative and engaging educational opportunities. Our vision is an inclusive community of motivated learners who are inspired to change the world through exploration.
All right, not seeing anyone, we have a opportunity at the end of each meeting as. So we are going to read.
Resolution regarding or recognizing Suicide Awareness Month in Lake Bluff School District 65. Whereas suicide is a critical public health issue that affects individuals and communities across the nation, including Lake Bluff and Norwood. And whereas the month of September is designated as Suicide Awareness Month, a time when communities and organizations across the country come together to raise awareness about suicide prevention, promote mental health and wellness, and provide support to those affected by suicide. And whereas the Lake Bluff Board of Education is committed to the well-being and safety of all students, families, and staff within our school district. Whereas it is essential for our district to take proactive steps to create a safe and supportive environment for all individuals, especially our students who may be at risk of suicide or struggling with mental health challenges. And whereas promoting suicide awareness and prevention within our district is crucial in reducing the stigma associated with mental health issues and encouraging individuals suicide risk. Supports to students in need. The district will provide resources and professional development opportunities to support this training. 4, the Board of Education commits to closely working with community organizations, mental health professionals, and local agencies to enhance mental health services and resources available to students, families, and staff. 5, the Board of Education urges parents and guardians to engage in open and supportive conversations about mental health and suicide prevention with their children, emphasizing the importance of seeking help when needed. 6, the Board of Education will continue to prioritize the emotional well-being and mental health of all individuals within the district, and will regularly evaluate and update policies and practices
I'll introduce our new. When your name is called. See you next. All right, so some of our new staff are here tonight and we're so excited to celebrate them. There are others that may not have been able to make it, but I'll introduce everybody. We've got some really highly qualified and excellent new team members at LBES this year. So Tina Bowie, our new second grade teacher. Not here this evening. Alexa Dickinson, Spanish. Sharat Gento, paraprofessional. Jamie Glover, who was officially hired mid-year last year, our art teacher. Michael Graham, paraprofessional. Not able to attend, Alonzo, was recess supervisor. Stephanie Moy, paraprofessional. Leah Pound, paraprofessional. Amber Kriegel, learning behavior specialist. Mary Yarbrough, math specialist. And then not here tonight, Yusuf Kareem, our newest maintenance team member. Welcome. Nice. Thank you.
I'd like to start by inviting, there are fewer, like our middle school, inviting, Jamie Fair, who's come on out, our newest paraprofessional. Now, for those of you that don't know, paraprofessionals can be very hard to find, and we had a paraprofessional that had, moved on to a new role just recently, and we were very lucky to get JP, the next day. So we're grateful and happy to have him here. James Cacciatore, our learning behavior specialist, who started this year. We're thrilled to have James. Been hard at work. Both have gotten off to a really great start. We're thrilled to have you both. I'll mention those that weren't able to make it tonight. Marta Alvarez, also one of our paraprofessionals. Gabriela Salgado, one of our paraprofessionals as well. And Katie Mikowski, is our new cashier who's working in the cafeteria area and has been doing a great job and has learned almost all of it by name, even those who write her IDs. So.
Well, welcome, everybody. We're very happy to have you in the district. Can you guys tell I didn't pre-read this? But welcome again. Thank you for being part of the district. You are welcome to go home. As we know, you're busy coming back here tomorrow, or you're welcome to join us back in the boardroom for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you. meeting, we will, continue with the regular agenda item. Do any board members tonight have a topic that they would like to bring forward to have discussed at the future meeting? Wonderful, what is it?
So one of the things we measure is, student, I hate to say satisfaction or something, but student engagement, student everything, and there's a survey. to take. So I'd like to talk about, getting additional input for that, not just relying on that, metric alone. And to, discuss, figuring out some way if we could survey, I guess it's been done before, the graduates, the ninth graders. Sometime pretty far along in their ninth grade year, just to see how they feel about their, preparation.
Sure, yeah. Now that they've been in high school for a while, how do they feel? Were they prepared coming out of the middle school?
Hmm.
Interesting, idea, okay. Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else have anything else?
If you sent us a question about residents, if you want to add a residency update to a future item.
No.
We'll get you enough.
Okay. Well, as far as president's report goes tonight, I just have a couple of things to say, which is a reminder to anyone watching that we do have an election coming for school board in April of 2025. There will be 5 seats up for election. If anyone has questions about running for school board or anything like that, we are all approachable. We're happy to answer them. Please reach out, let us know. Vote Lake Bluff will be holding their information night, town hall night. If, it's over 2 nights, I believe in November, but the school board night is November 13th. Go to Vote Lake Bluff, they have a website and register there and find out more details.
And the petition deadline.
Thank you. The petition deadline is November 18th. But generally you get your petition signed at the walk out of that time. That's all I have. You have superintendent?
Okay, yeah, real quickly, our first ever community calendar is out in everyone's mailboxes. And I think we've gotten some really positive feedback about that. If anyone has any ideas for other things that we could include on the calendar, we're open to those kinds of suggestions. So I just, am excited to hear that people feel good about that. And I hope it brings out some community members to some of the events maybe that are.
I have to say it is the thing I've gotten the most feedback and positive feedback on, is being on the board. So that's exciting. Okay, then let's begin our discussions and presentations for the evening. First is student representative to BOE, follow up with Dr. Leah.
Yeah, so we talked about this last meeting. I just wanted to give you another opportunity in case you had any thoughts in between the 2 meetings. But if we have consensus tonight, then we can start getting the word out to middle school students for those 2 seats on the board. And, adjacent members of the board. And we would like to do that in October so that we talked about having them have the opportunity to come to a November or December meeting to see it. I know that Laura volunteered to be sort of a board mentor, student mentor, so that they could kind of hang by her and have any questions answered, which I think is great and will be very helpful. So unless there's any other discussion, I just wanted to make sure you had another opportunity.
Still like, want to continue on with library IGA?
Happy to. So for historical purposes, Lake Bluff Public Library and District 65 entered into an intergovernmental agreement some years ago. I feel like probably 8 years ago, maybe 8 years. There's extra years added for COVID. So around there was an agreement between the 2 organizations because not all of our students live within the village boundaries. We have some students that live in unincorporated Norwood. And we wanted to make sure that all of our students had access to the resources available at the public library. And so our intergovernmental agreement outlines that arrangement. And we have paid the same fee for as long as the agreements have been in place, $1,000. We know that there is a transition now with the executive director of the public library, and we'll continue to be in partnership with them. The agreement does expire every September 30th, so we're bringing it to you to re-up for this year, and then we'll bring you any changes if they're proposed in the future. But we're happy with the agreement. We appreciate the partnership from the library, and would love to continue to be able to offer this to our students. Our agreement ends when students are in 8th grade, but the high school also has the same grades, so they can continue to access those resources as high school.
Is there, I know we talked about it last year, maybe, a way to maybe on like conference night or like one of those big nights to have somebody from the library to help some of those kids who maybe don't have a library, get them signed up?
Yes, Jackie and I actually met, couple of weeks ago with, the Eliza Jarvie, who kind of runs the youth programming. She's been around for a while as well, and we started brainstorming some other ways that we could support our families, because it's not only getting the card the first time, it's also renewing every 3 years. We're also trying to, figure out some language that we could potentially present parents with in the registration process, so that we would be able to hold on to numbers here at school and allow them to access resources here. So we're still trying to improve access, because I think that has been a bit of a barrier. They do have our curriculum or parent information nights on their calendar, and are happy to support that, but we're even looking for more ways that we can make sure that kids actually get the access that we've agreed that they should.
So here's the meeting, are they part of the Chicago strike?
Yes, so typically, we meet once a month with, Lake Bluff leaders, which includes the village, the park district, the chamber of myself and the library. Unfortunately, the last year or so, the library hasn't been able to be a part of that meeting. But I anticipate that as they hire their next director, that we'll be able to establish a relationship and make sure that we get all this taken care of. And the good news is that the director is one layer, but we obviously have people that we've been working with for years, who are in communication with our librarians, and so we have some processes internally, even with leadership changes, so. Great. So we're asking for approval tonight. We don't typically bring things in the same meeting, but there was some back and forth within the transition, so this came a little bit later than we anticipated. We'd love to get it approved tonight if there's no discussion.
And it hasn't changed.
It has not changed. Nothing has changed.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to Lake County School Mutual Aid Response Team agreement.
So this is being presented from our regional office superintendent, Mike Karner, who, as you know, he's come and talked to our meetings before. He's really trying to boost up collaboration around Lake County between school districts and make sure that we have resources, specifically when big events happen or catastrophes happen. So this agreement that he is asking districts to sign on to is modeled after other agreements in other counties. And essentially what we would be doing is entering into a partnership with other school districts in Lake County to put some money into a pool for necessary resources if there were to be a mass catastrophic event or some situation where a district might need some support. And then we would be continuing with that agreement year over year to kind of create this little hub at the regional office to help with those things. So I bring it here tonight. We don't have to agree to it tonight. Here for your discussion.
And I'm sorry, can you say again, what is the cost to it?
$250.
And both 67 and 115 are part of they're on.
They would be discussing it also. So as separate districts, I don't know if they've decided to, I don't know, we haven't really shared if any districts have decided to do it or not, but I don't see why people wouldn't. We certainly have had scenarios within the county where people need support, and, you know, we talk a lot about how we can support each other with human resources and expertise and, you know, encouragement, but like having a pot of money that could be drawn upon if people need that is not something that exists right now.
No lawyers. So we're-
Yes.
And I think Mike said he ran it by most of the legal teams that work with districts in Lake County so that we could all feel comfortable that the teams we work with have looked at it. Obviously, there's lots of firms, but there are some big ones that deal with most districts, and so he was able to run it by those.
Any other questions?
Who controls the money? That, like the pot, where is it? Do we know, like,
Who holds it?
Who
distributes
administers it?
yeah,
Yeah,
Right, so I believe that would be the regional office.
and they would make the decision on
when it's.
what would be appropriate.
For use, and looking to see if it includes it here.
I didn't see.
I can certainly ask them.
And
But they have an
It's on-
advisory,
It's on, yeah.
they have an
it's slide
advisory
20.
panel.
And so since it's never been done, what? I know you said catastrophic, but what's like an example? That, would it just sit and roll over and then we pay yearly and then it just grows?
I would think, but obviously then if we haven't had something for a while, then I think the advisory panel would be looking to say like, what can we use this for? That would be helpful or beneficial to the districts that are part of the cooperative. But I can bring that as a question as well.
So one district does not need more necessarily than another, right? This is like corporate, everybody puts in, so everybody's at like an equal playing field.
Yep. I do think those would be good questions, to get answered though, right? Like, what is the criteria here? And if it doesn't get used, hopefully not for any sort of mass catastrophic event, then, right? Do we either stop paying in because there's enough?
Yep.
Or does it get used for something else within the district?
And we'll ask this question for you back too.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, next up then is our Ed Red update, Laura.
Oh, this is just, this slide should be in the board book, is the, response to the survey. They don't have a presentation for us per se. They just, Bridget was nice enough to say, here's what we found are the top 5 priorities, reported from the districts that participated. And then also, remember, we submitted, after we talked to Lisa about what we think their legislative priorities should be. So she sent us a list of some of the other comments that they've gotten back. And she said she should have more information on it, next month, and will report back to us. But it all lined up with basically what our board said, with the top priority being funding and support for low income at-risk English learner students and cybersecurity funding eligibility. And then the third miscellaneous topic submitted was also one of ours, which was mandate relief. So more information to follow.
Any questions for Laura? Thank you. Okay, policy update is next. With the policy committee, you want to take this?
Yep, so this is the second read. We presented these policies at the last meeting, so hopefully you've had a chance to just take a look at some of them. The majority of them are 5-year reviews, so there's no changes, or they're minor, like legal reference changes or things like that. The top 3 were ones that we discussed as a district, so the first one on the supply of undesignated medication had to do again with glucagon. And adjusting the wording a little bit that we may have that on campus, but we don't have to. That was on the recommendation of one of our nurses who felt like that would not be the medication that we would go to right away. And so did not feel like the district should always have it because we don't need to have it. And in going through a process for obtaining undesignated medications is kind of a big process. And so if we don't have to have it, if it's not something we would normally use, then it doesn't make sense to have it, that we shall have it always in supply. The second policy, 5:170, is just about naming me as the copyright DMCA agent. So the person that would be the first contact if we had any issues with copyright infringement. The policy 105 ILCS is on absenteeism and truancy. We just went through our policy existing and made sure that it was in compliance with what is being asked of us for that policy. And then the press policy packet all those policies are included here as well. None of those policies had any substantial changes. But the policy committee did review and just take a look at all of those. And we're recommending that all of those be adopted as written.
Most of them were just 5-year reviews, right? Okay. Any questions on the policies? Okay, great. Let's talk about the bond refunding and sale recap.
Okay. The bonds were sold on September 11th, and they should be closing October 1st or 2nd. The sale went very well. We had a lot of interest. We had, I think, 8 bidders and some new bidders. The total interest savings to the district will be almost $200,000 over the remaining life of the bonds, which on a net present value basis after fees is like $163,000 or a rate of return of over 4%. So we did better than we thought we would. And I think the climate as well as our AAA rating helped to get a lot of interest. So did very well.
That's great news.
Mhm.
Any questions for Mr. Pat?
We will, we did have a question from a board member of whether or not we can put that as information out to the community, which we will. We'll make sure that we put that out in a community newsletter. It is important for the community to know that we've taken actions to save the taxpayers' money. And so we're happy to put that celebration in.
It's a great suggestion. Absolutely. All right, then moving on to our action items. All right, number 1 is superintendent evaluation goals and process approval. So may I have a motion to approve the superintendent evaluation goals and process as discussed at the meeting on September 10th?
Second.
Lauren, can we have a roll call?
Laura Brickstone.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Tim Penich.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is policy 7270 AP2 administrative procedure checklist. District supply of undesignated medications. May I have a motion to approve the updated language to policy 7270 as just presented?
So. Second.
Lauren, roll call please.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes.
Laura Brickstone.
Yes.
That motion passes as well. Okay, so policy 5170 copyright DMCA. Do we want to have any discussion or further questions about this? No, not seeing any, then may I have a motion to approve the district contact for policy 5170 as just presented?
So.
Second.
It says it does. Lauren, can you do a roll
Yes.
call, please?
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Richard Driver.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Laura Brickstone.
Yes.
Motion passes as well. All right, next up is policy 105 ILCS 522-29 absenteeism and truancy policy. Does anybody want to revisit this one or have any discussion or questions on it? May I have a motion to approve policy 105 as just presented?
Second.
Lauren, vote please.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Laura Brickstone.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up is press packet 115. Is there anything we want to revisit there or discuss or have questions? All right, then may I have a motion to approve press packet 115 as just presented?
So moved.
Second.
Lauren?
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Laura Brickstone.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes.
Wonderful, that motion passes as well. Next up is our Allerton Hill annual contract approval. We discussed this last meeting in September as well. Does anyone have anything to add or discuss?
The only thing I'll mention is that this continues to be a $5,000 per month contract that we can leave with 30 days notice,
And that's all inclusive of money.
all inclusive.
Wonderful. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the Allerton Hill contract as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Lauren, could you call the vote, please?
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Tim Penich.
Yes.
Motion passes. Library intergovernmental agreement approval. So we just discussed this as well, but does anyone have anything else to add or questions?
I'll add on this, continues to be $1,000 annually.
May I have a motion to approve the library IGA as just presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please, Lauren.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone, yes. Anne Hill,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes.
That motion passes as well. Next up is the EIS report approval. Anything to add on that one? May I have a motion to approve the EIS report as shown in the board packet?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Lauren, can you call vote?
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Tim Penich,
Yes.
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Motion passes as well. All right. Do I need a drum roll here? Approval for the final budget for 2024-25, as presented by Mr. Khan at our budget hearing and previously at our September meeting. Is there anything to add or discuss or question?
I just want to thank Jay and his team. It's a lot of work to put the budget together, and it's not just his team, but also working with the administrative team to make sure that we are being as fiscally responsible as we can be and providing the services that all of our students need. So thank you for your hard work.
I second that. Yes, thank you. May I have a motion to approve? Says EIS report, final budget report as shown in the board packet.
So moved.
Second.
Laura, could you call vote, please?
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Tim Penich,
Yes.
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Budget motion passes.
We have a budget.
Very exciting. All right, approval of the personnel report, so everybody get comfortable. Going to read it. We have a bunch of non-licensed new hires, so starting with Sherritt Gentle, paraprofessional at LBES, effective 8/21/24, replacing Cameron Fisher for $20 per hour. Next is Charles Bagdade, guest teacher in either building, effective 8/19/24 at a rate of $150 per day. Next is Catherine Nikowitz. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Catherine. Cashier at LBMS, 8/22/24, replacing Juan Melendez at $18 per hour. Yusuf Kareem Senior, daytime custodian at LBMS, effective 9/16/2024, replacing David Pedikowski at $22.50 per hour. Joshua Parent, paraprofessional at LBMS, effective 8/30/24, replacing
Anu, thanks, Swami.
Anu and Swami for $20 per hour. Stephanie Carroll, guest teacher in either building, effective 9/9/24, $150 a day. Cassandra Spindler, guest teacher in either building, effective 9/11/24 for $150 a day. Lauren Benitez, guest teacher in either building, 9/16/24, $150 a day. Gretchen Winkler, guest teacher in either building, 9/18/24, $150 a day. David Belmelli, guest teacher in either building, August 16th, effective, $150 per day. And 2 resignations, Cameron Fisher, paraprofessional at LBES, effective August 14th, and
I knew that is why we.
paraprofessional at LBMS.
Effective date on that.
We do not have an effective date on that one. Thank you. 1 termination, Juan Melendez, a cashier at LBMS, that was effective August 22, 24.
I knew it was 8/28.
A news,
Resignation.
effective date for resignation was 8/28/24. Thank you. We have 2 FMLA requests. Amanda Haddon, her position is enrichment at LBES. This to be effective end of December 2024 through early April 2025. And Tim Burks, psychologist at LBES, intermittent in September 2024 and December of 2024. Any questions on that? May I have a motion to approve the personnel report for September 24, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Lauren, could you call vote, please?
Tim Bennett,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Richard Driver,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Lauren Hill, yes.
Lauren Hill.
Lauren Hill, yeah.
It's not so easy, is it?
All right, that motion passes as well. She is, yes, the miseducation of Lauren Hill. That was a big elbow. Okay. Consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the following: open session meeting minutes from August 13th, 2024. Those are regular meeting minutes, and September 5, 2024 policy committee meeting minutes, the treasurer's report,
And the committee of the whole for September 10th.
and the committee of the whole on September 10th, 2024. The treasurer's report, the impressed report, the bills report, the P card report. Anybody want to revisit any of those things? Have them pulled out? Questions, discussion?
I have a couple of questions. There's a cost of about, I think $1,000 for maintenance to the sport court. What was that
So,
regard?
to limit the district's liability, we want to get it inspected every year to make sure that it's in good condition. We also had some like repainting and tile replacement and things that we done since it was installed last year.
Okay.
Pretty routine stuff.
So you expect it like a yearly?
I'm hoping it's not quite that much every year, but we will have some expense every year just to make sure that we can improve it.
Great. And then, just regarding the new school lunches, since this is the first time we've seen this in the report, the school parents pay and that money goes to the school and then the school pays the restaurants directly.
So the school buys the food from the restaurants, and because we're buying it as a school district as part of our lunch or cafeteria program, it's tax exempt, and then we sell the meals back to the students and the parents are paying.
Yep.
We have used the P card for a lot of it. We may transition more to checks or some combination of checks and P cards, but you'll be seeing a lot of restaurant charges.
Okay.
So those are what we look for the cafeteria much more.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is for my own education, but for example, there's a bill to Amazon that we paid, was like $9,700. And it was a lot of different supplies for classrooms and whatnot. How do those, I presume, are originated by the teachers, and then what process, the approval process do they go through?
Good question.
Before they're paid?
The teachers, we have through Skyward, which is our finance system, we can order through Amazon. And so a teacher who needs supplies will order their own supplies from various vendors. That information gets downloaded into the purchase order. Then it goes to approval, first to the principal, then to me, and then to Dr. Valley.
Okay,
And then once it's approved at all three levels, it becomes an official purchase order and it gets ordered. And what you're seeing is the accumulation of all the individual orders. We have
right.
an account with them, so we have 60-day terms and we can pay within 60 days.
Okay, so the principal approves it first and.
Yeah, it goes through three levels of
They
approval,
see everything.
and it's all documented. in our
Okay, and the second one was just, looked like the final payment. As near as I could tell, to Midwest, Mechanical, what were you using? them
They
for?
replaced the air handlers in the middle school.
Okay, so they were the crew installing. them.
Yeah, that's part of the 400 and something thousand dollars that's in the capital projects fund for this year's budget that was just passed.
Okay,
They did a great job.
is it all up and working now?
Yeah, it's all up and working, so we're looking forward to trying it out this winter. It's got hospital grade filtration and UV lights in it, so we should be for mitigation of just not only COVID, but all
Right,
airborne illnesses, viruses and things, and should improve the air quality up in the school.
okay, thank you.
That's great.
I feel that.
Feel good.
Are there any other questions or discussion items?
There is no impressed report this time, just as a note.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for September 24, 2024, as presented by administration?
So moved.
Second.
Lauren, could you call vote, please?
Anne Hill,
Yes.
Laura Brinkstone,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Amy Connor Donahue,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Richard Driver.
Yes,
The motion passes. All right, we did have 3 FOIA requests this month. They are in your packet if you'd like to take a look at those. Details of each are there, yeah. The FOIA section of our agenda is simply a report item and does not require approval. But are there any questions before we move on? Get it out.
Just wondering what they're asking. I'm wondering why they're asking for this information, but.
I can tell you that the first 3
Yeah.
from the Lake County Gazette are going to almost every district that I know of.
Okay.
So they're soliciting the information from every district. The last one was specific to us.
Anything else? Does anyone want to make a public comment? Not today. All right, well then, at that pace, may I have a motion to adjourn the September 24th, 2024 regular Board of Education meeting at 7:49 PM.
So moved.
Second. I can't second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?